please settle down. Thank you. We'd like to start. And in Botswana, it is customary that when we start an official event, we ask someone to offer a prayer. I'm going to ask a volunteer to give us a word of prayer as we start. You can stand up, you can.
Hello, please let's bow our heads in prayer. Dear Lord, bless us on this occasion to have our minds open and our ears opened and get some light from this congregation. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Thank you for that.
Thank you for that prayer. I believe we can now start. My name is Dandjinou, and I will be the Director of Ceremonies for the official opening. And by way of starting, I would like to welcome, or ask you to welcome with me, Martin Mokone, our Chief Executive, to come and give us welcome remarks. Mokone, please welcome.
Good morning. Is this the mic? This is a mic. Yeah, okay. It seems to be very. Ladies and gentlemen, most of these guys here speak French, so I'm also going to speak this one. Loosely
Domain names AFTLD, then after the registrar, they just simply say Afregistrar. And Mokone, this is the third update where event that we are privileged to host in a space of less than 3 months. Just a few months ago, but in May, we hosted the 4th Africa Sub-Saharan Spectrum Management Conference and the International Telecommunication Women Capacity Building Conference on cross-border frequency corporate coordination. Last month, we hosted the Africa Telecom Women World Radio Conference preparatory meeting. So this is the plan that we host. It means every month we host. You'll recall that our presidency was Botswana to be a conference center. So we will try always to call all these beautiful Africans to come and speak with us in Botswana. Hosting of this event is a demonstration of our commitment as a country to the development of telecommunication throughout Africa. The DLS from just like the previous 2 events is critical to the development of the internet in Africa. It is common cause that the internet is destined to overhaul the way we live our lives and do business in ways that we are yet fully to comprehend. What is certain though is that future life without internet will be like the current life without formal education. You will have to depend on those who have internet to help you with all essential personal life requirements. Let this meeting count as thank you, Mokone, for those welcome remarks. For those of us that Twitter survey, I've been asked to share this information with you. That you can start tweeting, you can start sharing, and the Twitter handle is AFDNS, or you can use AFDNS 2019. That is for sharing with our online audience. I've been informed as well that those of us who could not make it to this event, and I think they're participating remote. I would like to now invite Alex Corenthin to come and talk to us about AFTLD. Let us welcome Alex. Bonjour. Bonjour. I think I will speak French. First of all, I have to say to all the people, because I'm very proud to be here, I'm very honored to be here with all these people to all this meeting. Madame la secrétaire permanente du ministère des Transports et des Télécommunications du Botswana, Monsieur le Président en charge de la politique de l'ALicia, Monsieur le Président de l'Afregistrar, l'Association des registres publics, Monsieur le représentant de la Commission de l'Union africaine, Monsieur les membres, le directeur et les membres de la direction de Botswana, chers délégués participants, chers invités en votre légalité. C'est un honneur pour moi d'être aujourd'hui à cette tribune pour remercier le gouvernement du Botswana et particulièrement l'autorité de régulation des communications du Botswana, qui est un membre actif de la AFTLD, d'avoir accepté cette lors de cette 7e édition du DLS Africa, organisée conjointement par la AFTLD, dont je suis le président du comité exécutif, le bureau Afrique de l'ICANN, et l'association des registres africains Afregistrar. entreprises du Botswana pour le transfert de reconnaissance, pour la qualité du comité d'organisation locale et la première dans sa gestion. Ils n'ont ménagé aucun effort pour faciliter la vie de tous les délégués ici présents. Permettez-moi aussi de saisir cette opportunité pour installer officiellement, lors de cette réunion, le point W au sein du bureau exécutif de l'AFTLD, qui est représenté par Mme Angela Patlapeng, opérateur de riche pour les fonds du Corenthin, élu par la communauté lors de la dernière Assemblée générale à Kampala en juin de cette année. Je souhaiterais, avec votre permission, que l'on puisse vraiment l'applaudir pour cette élection. Angela. She's on the board of AFTLD. Welcome. Le thème de notre rencontre de cette année, Madame la Secrétaire. Des noms de domaine sur un comptage général de 126 millions de noms de domaine, soit 1,5 million uniquement pour l'Afrique. Pour une population de 1,3 milliard d'individus, soit 17% de la population mondiale, et pour représentant 30% des 154 pays qui sont inscrits aux Nations Unies. On voit toute la difficulté qu'il y a à atteindre le niveau que doit être le nôtre au vu de ces chiffres. Les défis à relever sont multiples. Ils doivent impliquer l'ensemble des parties prenantes si l'on souhaite promouvoir une économie numérique conforme aux exigences des marchés locaux de nos pays et africains plus généralement. Les gouvernements, les organes de régulation, les registres délégataires de gestion, les bureaux d'enregistrement et au-delà, tout l'écosystème du numérique du continent sont particulièrement interpellés sur ces questions. Quelles sont les stratégies à mettre en œuvre? Comment rendre accessible et valoriser les extensions pays? Quels sont les usages qui correspondent le mieux aux attentes des utilisateurs et des internautes? Quels sont les impacts de l'Internet dans l'économie de nos pays? Quelle réglementation faut-il mettre en œuvre pour les Internet inclusifs et tournés vers le développement? Autant de questions qui me viennent à l'esprit et je l'espère pouvoir les éléments de réponse pour nos échanges durant ces dernières semaines sur l'Afrique et pour l'Afrique qui nous réunit aujourd'hui. Donc, ambition au sein de l'AFTLD et de pouvoir porter nos voix au sein des organisations d'Internet et des instances politiques afin de pouvoir impulser pour les générations futures l'émergence d'un écosystème numérique fort, résilient et en phase avec les avancées technologiques qui se dessinent à leur niveau. L'Afrique est aujourd'hui perçue par l'ensemble de la communauté Internet comme un continent jeune, entreprenant et novateur, et qui dessinera le monde de demain. Il nous est donné l'opportunité ici et ailleurs présenté en 2018 à Dakar, qui donne des pistes de résolution des contraintes que nous devons lever. Je ne saurais terminer, Madame la secrétaire permanente, sans remercier pour l'implication son équipe ici, qui depuis 2012 n'ont ménagé aucun effort pour que ce rendez-vous se renouvelle tous les ans. La station du bureau d'enregistrement Afregistrar, un partenaire naturel, à nous qui, avec son président Mouhamet Diop, s'est particulièrement impliqué dans l'élaboration de ce programme qui nous est aujourd'hui proposé. Je voudrais faire une mention particulière aux sponsors locaux et internationaux, parmi lesquels je citerai particulièrement ICANN Society, la francophonie islamique, qui ont contribué par leur soutien à nous réunir ici. Ils ont cru en nous. S'il vous plaît, ne les décevrons pas à l'issue de cette réunion. Mesdames, Messieurs, je vous souhaite des échanges riches et fructueux, et nous espérons tous que cet état de Cameroun sera marqué d'un saut particulier au vu de la qualité des intervenants et des participants. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Thank you. I just come to my attention that some of the delegates don't have headsets. We have our team around the hall. Just contact any one of us if you need headsets. And I should also announce that we have channels 1 and 2, one is for English and 2 is for French. I'd like now to call Pierre Dandjinou from ICANN, Global Stakeholder Engagement, and I would like to ask you to welcome with me to the stage, Pierre Dandjinou. I should say today, our chief guest, Minister of Transport and Communication, the CEO of Mokone, and our local host, Mr. Martin Mokone, the delegates. Friends, ladies and gentlemen. So I would like to join my colleagues to partners on behalf of ICANN to thank our host Mokone, who is the telecom regulator here in Botswana, by agreeing to graciously host this 2019 edition of the AFTLD Forum that has just said this year. Especially it's a pleasure to be back here. Botswana has been very life, I've been coming here in this country to assist in some of supporting some of the issues. May I also register my sincere appreciation on behalf of the organizing partners, the government of Botswana, to the ministry, represented here by the government secretary, for their full support and the facilitation that we had in the organization of this event. Thank you very much. We are truly grateful. The Internet Corporation for Assignments and Numbers, ICANN, that I represent, is an internationally organized non-profit corporation that has the responsibility for what we call Internet ethical identifiers, such as Internet protocols, address-based allocation,
because the private assignment and talk about the domain name system. As you know, the domain name system is the underpinning of the internet, and the internet itself is the pillar of the global economy. When we started the journey 7 years ago, the main objective actually was to act as a platform for identifying and addressing some of the issues that were curtailing the development of the mining industry in Africa. So probably you may ask, why is ICANN doing this? Why are we really pushing for this forum? And we did get for 7 years. Because we noticed, as a coordinator actually on this identified system, that there is much to do for Africa. Also because, and Corenthin alluded to this, the African strategy of ICANN decided 2 years ago to really hear from Africans to say what exactly they would like ICANN to be delivered. And two key things highlighted in that strategy was developed by Africans themselves. One of them was participation. How do we foster the African participation to ICANN work? ICANN work, which is of course it's operational, but it's also basically about policy development. And the second key issue that the African raised, the need support, was to make sure that Africa also become part of the JNS industry. And that's quite important. So one of the decisions we made was to foster capacity development. Hence, a few projects that were crafted, including this JNS forum. That was the first ever organized JNS forum in the world, actually. The way it is, and this is being replicated over ICANN vision today. So our JNS is the oldest one. One of the issues identified there was lack of automation, technical capacity of registry in Africa, governance and regulatory challenges, specifically at this point, lack of requisite business in those cases, such as marketing skills, to name a few. Today, as I have noted in our previous forum, we must pause and take stock in our progress, especially related to what we set out to achieve, while remaining alive to the new and ever-changing development in the industry globally. ALicia of AFTLD alluded to this African report established by the Africa in 2018, and that is quite, showing a few things. I'm not going to go over the figures we decided. These are the figures. Africa only accounts for 1.3 of the total administration in the world. So when you're talking about 350 million millennials in the world. And this also equals the study that was conducted by ICANN 3 years ago about the remaining market in Africa. And which exactly show that there is more to do. More to do because we can only sell something around 4.9 billion of total registration for Africa, including GTSD and CTSD. In fact, as for the CTSD, which is something over 1.5 billion, South Africa alone account for more than 1 million. So here we have 54 countries. In many of those countries, you only have maybe 500 registration, 400 registration, and which really means that something needs to be done. However, Botswana, we are counting something like 6,000 registration. I don't know, for this is something like the registration. Well, so what do we do? That's the question. What do we do to get to promote the JNS market? And of course, some of the way we are doing this, as far as ICANN is concerned, is to, of course, organize capacity development through workshops. We've done some of those workshops with the theme on marketing, for instance, the whole issue about security, DNS, issues such as DNS abuse, how to really mitigate those. DNS, which is for security, over the DNS. So we really do all of this to really incapacitate Africans, basically registrars. Well, now I think it's time for us to really reflect and come together with some of the options that are there to really impact the DNS environment in Africa. So one of the questions to this forum today would be, are we really on course? We started 7 years ago. Have we got, have we increased, for instance, the number of registrars? Because bear in mind, of the total of more than 1,000, accredited registrars, I mean, I can't accredited registrars, whatever the word. Africa can only sign 11 of them, and certainly the active registrar frequently will tell us how they are thriving. Obviously, there might be more to do. Are we having our own local registrar, for instance? How are we working on it? Because that's the way we really want to grow the market. And what will be our next concrete step that we set the growth agenda for the African development industry? And sometimes the question comes, does the domain market really exist in Africa? Let me be quick to know that over the year, the African DNS Forum has lived up to many expectations, identifying key national and cross-border issues that continue to challenge the growth of the industry, such as
there are also that we touched on legal issues, for instance, dispute resolutions, domain name registration, for instance, the registrar accreditation, ICANN accreditation, for instance, this is accreditation in a borderless environment, especially now that we are talking about a common market in Africa. Automation, which is also key. How we building technical capacity on those, and the resiliency of the registries, for instance, the payment gateways, for instance, and of course, government supporting the growth of CCTLDs. We've noticed, for instance, in Africa, that the trend is about, regulators to actually seek to manage, CCTLDs, which is most important part of it is that it benefits, the local community and the global community as well. Why the current agenda for this event has been structured, other registry business, registrar and resellers, registrant issues, because we should not forget about the registrants, which are actually the users. You also touching upon emerging social issues. I also see that you are going to discuss privacy and regulatory, like GDPR, for instance, issues. How does this impact the industry in Africa, and what could be the impact, for instance? These are good, subjects to touch upon. I'm confident that this meeting, led by these eminent panelists, and by the way, I would like to thank all of them, some of our colleagues that came, from far abroad. Because one of the objectives of this DNS forum, in fact, was to exchange experience and expertise. And I'm very grateful to many of them for coming here to share their experience. Before I really finish, Madam Pierre, I would like to thank Botswana, at least, for participating to ICANN.
at least as a GAC member. The GAC is the precise place, where the government have their say within ICANN. I told you earlier on that ICANN is not just about technical or functioning of the internet. It's also about policy development. And to tell you exactly why it's important to really discuss the policy on those critical resources. One example that we like to provide is here in Africa, for instance, where we talk about IP addresses, which is actually operated or managed by Afregistrar, which is the African registry. Knowing that Africa is the only one region now that still have any IPv4, address remaining. One of the issues, the question is, what type of policy are you going to put in place to really manage those remaining, pool? It's not a simple question, actually. So if you don't sit down and discuss this exactly and know how Africa is going to, the way it's going to run those things, a decision might be taken sometime that might not be of interest. So that's why it's important that you be at the GAC. And again, thank you very much for this. And of course, we would really much like many countries to be involved, not only in the GAC, but on our many SOSCs, which is supporting organization, advisory committees, that ICANN has, that really help ICANN develop the policies. No policy is voted on without the committee having a say within ICANN. With that, I would like to wish us the best luck as we deliberate under the theme Building Trust in the African DNS industry for a thriving digital economy. A sustainable DNS industry in Africa. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dandjinou. In my culture, when you address a male person who is older than you, we usually affix something called re to the name. It's a mark of respect, or me if you are talking to a woman. I've been asked to make a few corrections, but I think those corrections can be done better if we put up the information about the Twitter on the screen. He mentioned a lot of things, and some of I was talking to my colleagues yesterday that a lot of what they speak is filled with jargon, but I'm pretty sure that the heads that are gathered here can make sense of that, those abbreviations that they just sort of roll off their tongue so easily. But I'm trying my best to follow and make sense of what is happening. At Bokra, we have a saying that if you're not at the table when people are eating, it's because you're the menu. So I just wanted to highlight what Remo Khware was saying, that Bokra has been hosting a lot of events, and the objective is to be able to influence some of these decisions that are made around things that are eventually affect us. And by so saying, we note that internet development has by and large been something that we really didn't take a lot of opportunities to influence the outcome for our own markets. And I'd like to really thank for such a partnership. I would now like to invite Mouhamet Diop from Afregistrar to come and talk to us. Let us welcome Diop.
Good morning, Jumeleng. Thank you for hosting. My name is Mouhamet, and I'm speaking on behalf of Afregistrar, that is the organization of ICANN accredited registrar in Africa, but include also all the incubators and people who are willing to become registrar in the continent. So, dear officials, all protocol observed, dear members, our guest host, Bokra, and all the representatives from the government, thank you for allowing us to be here with you and sharing this important and critical moment that we're sharing here in order to discuss economic development issues. We're not talking DNS, we're talking about Africa development today. So I want to share some historical point just to let people understand that what we're discussing today is not just DNS. It was a meeting where African people sit like here and declare and commit that they want to set up something for the African continent. This baby will later be called Africa. And it just comes from the willingness of some pioneers who just say that regarding how the global world have been divided, all the continents have their institution to serve the continent except Africa. We say, how comes? So who will be the one who challenge this? Who's going to make it for us? Are we going to make it, or are we going to wait for people to do it for us? And 96 was Montreal. We met there and we discussed. And we tried to see how we're going to create Africa, how we're going to give voice to all the regions, and how we're going to set up these things. And then we got Cotonou, 98, and then up to 2004, Afrinic was there. And we are very proud today to say that Afrinic is the first institution in Africa that serves all the continent, that have been set up by jointly public and private sector initiative together, joining, saying that we need it, we're going to make it, and we make it. So ICANN is the institution that talks about domain name. I have the responsibility. But within ICANN, we have so many constituencies. We got the DNS people, we got the IP peoples, we got also people who talk about intellectual property right, we got people talking about businesses, we have at large, we have the consumers, and we have the players. We also have the GAC, I mean, people coming from the government side, and they say that we have the responsibility to implement policy at our national level. So together, we jointly understand that everybody has a piece of responsibility to change how things are moving in our continent. And but for the DNS, it was a little bit harder for us to address it. For so many reasons, I'm not going to come back on what Pierre have already said. But when we identify the challenges that we have, that domain name have become dependent of our real life, and everything happening on real life is in a virtual space, whether it can be e-service, or it can be the website of an institution, or it's going to be an e-commerce site. All these things have the same pendant from the physical to the virtual world. So are we going to let that space just managed by people who maybe don't care, who don't understand the economic realities and don't know really what challenges we're facing? So we try to set up something to discuss about it. So my question today is, why do we set up and are expecting from us to set up good guidance on how we're going to make the internet and the domain name space become relevant to our economy, to our people. And this is really the challenging we have. So for whom? For everybody. For the players. We need the bankers to be around that table. We need the insurance people to get here around that table. We need the IP, the lawyers. We need the law enforcement agency to be here, because we all have the same challenges that we have in real life on the domain name space. From our own perspective, looking on our own weaknesses and looking on how we're going to leverage all these things for the benefit of our population. So when people talk about numbers, usually I get a little bit frustrated because I say, why are we focusing on numbers? Because numbers sometimes matters, but sometimes numbers means nothing for us. Let me give you some example about why numbers are not sometimes really not relevant. In a country, when you have a domain names that explode because of free registration, and we know that 99% of the domain registered there are just fake domain names or just for abuse or whatever, showing that you have 20 million domain names, does that mean something for you? Is it relevant? When they're talking to somebody, they are sure that the trust environment have been set up correctly. And all the actors who show up, these are the real actors because they have an identification process. So these 1,000 people are more relevant than the 20 million domain name that are just fake domain name for abuse and misusing of the internet domain name space. So my question is, as African, we know that the numbers are not there, but who cares? I mean, the real question is, if we want the numbers, are we thinking about how we're going to make a good usage of the numbers we are trying to achieve? Are we going to create jobs and value-added services to the people who are going to own this domain name? Or are we just talking about domain names because we want the numbers like saying that we got 2 million, 3 million? And when you do the evaluation on our real economy, there's nothing, no impact, no job showing, no. People want things that help them increase their welfare. They want a business that helps young people who get out from the university to get jobs. They want this environment to be really productive for the continent. So my message today is just, Afregistrar have been set up just to address the issue of increasing the domain name, but in a proper manner. Setting up the quality of service as a must, not an option. Allowing people to increase trust in the domain name space, not just letting it as a no man's land where there is no rules, no law, and everybody can do whatever they want. So it's an empty field. It means we need to set up everything. We need to build it. But how are we going to build it? We're going to build it through a solid and fair partnership between actors. We need to sit and address from each perspective and point of view, what do we need to do in order to set up a proper, clean, solid, and vibrant environment for the DNS Forum in Africa? So this is our challenges. And I want just to say to the 11 registrars who are here and members of IF registrars, I can give you names. It's very important for you to know who they are. But these people have made the challenge to just show up and say that we want to be part of that. And we want also to be the interface that's going to help young people as an incubator who want to become registrar, fully accredited by ICANN and all the AFTLD, to create a unique market where they can have their businesses in Botswana, in Senegal, in Ghana. And we need to set up a framework where when you get accredited with AFTLD, A registrar in Botswana can have domain names already in Senegal, in Mali. This is a free trade. So let's capture the spirit of the free trade market in Africa and let's implement it in our environment. Nobody's gonna do it for us, but we need it and we're gonna make it. So no matter how long it's gonna take, it can take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we don't care. I mean, what we care about is no matter how long it's gonna be, but we need to achieve it and we need to set up it for our continent, for our young generation, for our population. So this is my key message for you guys, and we're here for 3 days, but let's make the African DNS Forum be a foundation for a secure, trust, and solid partnership between all the key actors here in order to make our continent become more vibrant, more solid economically for the young generation. Thank you very much for your
That was Mouhamet Diop, he's very passionate about what he's talking about. I like what you said, that this is not just about DNS, it's about our economy. And I think that's the takeaway that really resounded with me. Next, I would like to call upon Mayor. On the program, it says the Minister for Transport and Communications, Honorable Dorcas Makhato, but I'm pretty sure she is not Honorable Dorcas Makhato, the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Transport and Communications, to come and give us keynote address. Let us welcome her to the stage.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. I'm certainly not Honorable Makato, but I'm here representing her as her chief right-hand woman. You'll see that in Botswana, the ladies are taking charge. Yeah. But Director of Ceremonies, my first job is to apologize for Honorable Minister, who has gone out of the country with the state president on a state visit to another African country. And I'm here to deliver the words that she was to deliver had she had the opportunity to address this August meeting. Director of Ceremonies, I would like to recognize our cooperating partners who are here to come and discuss these issues with us. I would like to, and those cooperating partners are ICANN, represented by speakers who stood here before myself, Afregistrars, and African TLD. Distinguished delegates who are here, members of the media, of you today to deliver this keynote address on this very important meeting, the 7th African Domain Name Forum. I think we are honored as Botswana, and particularly as BOCRA, who is our telecoms regulator, to be holding such an important meeting in Botswana, given where we are with the development of ICT. And the theme, building trust in the African domain name system for a thriving digital economy, is absolutely apt, as so elegantly expressed by Mr. Diop just prior to my coming here. The domain name systems are crucial for the stable operation of internet. As you all know, the internet plays such an important role in the national economy and our day-to-day life activities. Just as a case in point, we in Botswana are preparing for our next general elections in October. Traditionally, elections are held in October in this country. And the internet in general, and social media particularly, are playing a very pivotal role in terms of information dissemination to the public and particularly to the voting public. Therefore, the internet needs to be ubiquitous. It needs to be accessible to everyone, everywhere. And we need to ensure that the unconnected are connected to the internet so that all our citizens are online. If Africa is to enjoy the full benefits of the digital economy, I can bet a penny to a pound, to use a popular pun, that the first thing that everybody did before sitting down at the chair here was to ask, what is the Wi-Fi code? I'm sure everybody here knows what the Wi-Fi code is. It's a habit that is becoming a fact of life. So as governments, we would want you to see the internet that allows three fundamental things, amongst others. First of all, it's the universal access for all. The internet must reach and be accessible to all citizens. Some countries consider it a human right. Therefore, it is important that broadband and infrastructure is deployed throughout the country to enable this universal access and the services to be available to all. To this end, this government of Botswana has developed the National Broadband Strategy to guide deployment of the broadband infrastructure and to facilitate access by all residents of Botswana. The second very important issue is that of safety and security. Again, previous speakers have spoken about safety. Cybersecurity in cyberspace is very important to ensure integrity and confidence of internet users. If the internet is not safe, then our people will not benefit from its immeasurable potential. The question is, what are you doing as the internet community to make the internet safe? And what is it that we need to do on our part as governments? The internet has eliminated barriers like borders, oceans, walls, granting unfettered access to all, including criminals who potentially have direct access to businesses, to governments, and those we love most, our families and our children. Cybersecurity is not entirely a technical issue. It requires all stakeholders to work together to achieve. Remember, just like water, being accessible is not enough. It has to be safe to use. On our part, my ministry, after consultation with all the stakeholders, has drafted a national cybersecurity strategy, which is currently at the government approval stage. We hope it will be approved within the next month or so and become a direction for us to go as a nation. Now, my passion personally is that of content creation and innovation. It is imperative that relevant online content is available to all end users. Therefore, as Africa, we need to ensure that we develop appropriate online local content for the benefit of our citizens. Internet acts as a catalyst for entrepreneurship and job creation by removing barriers to local business startups and enabling local content creation, particularly for the youth. And I'm absolutely gratified to see so many young people in the audience, who most of whom I believe will be, from our local community. As Africans, we need to avoid remaining consumers and downloaders of internet content, but strive to create local content in our respective languages. It is estimated that we have over 3,000 languages in Africa. Only when internet content is readily available in these languages can we, as a continent, balance the equation and optimize the economic benefits of the internet. Today, I'm afraid we have higher download speeds than upload speeds, affirming the fact that we are inherently downloaders and consumers of content. We must make a conscious effort to be creators of the content. And I strongly believe that we have the capacity, supported by our partners, to do this. Only when we are equal distributors of content can we say that we are equal participants in the digital economy. Allow me, Mr. Director of Ceremonies, to speak to the issue of domain name system, DNS, and specifically to our own country top-level domain name, .bw. .bw is the identity of Botswana as a country online. It is our flag and online real estate. And therefore, we should be proud of it and buy it. Since it is locally managed, we can guarantee its safety and security. It is one of the few top-level domains in Africa that has already implemented security by deploying what you are called the DNSSEC. I think one of the previous speakers spoke to that, which is critical to contributing to its safety and resiliency on the global internet. I will be interested to learn from you, the experts who are sitting here, gathered today, how well optimized our DNS infrastructure in Botswana and Africa at large it is already, and to be able to support a secure internet for the emergence of a thriving digital economy in Africa. Director of Ceremonies, to ensure that citizens have trust in our DNS, it is essential that we operate stable DNS databases, which are secure and always available online. I have been informed that the AFTLDs in most of the African countries have not fully implemented DNSSEC, often referred to as the Domain Name System Security Extension. I cannot urge you enough that you should work with the relevant stakeholders to ensure full implementation of DNSSEC, to ensure security in our domain name systems. All stakeholders. And we in this country are probably the exporters of the concept of participation, which we call the Kotla system. We need to play an active role in the development of policies governing the issues of internet cooperation for assigned names and numbers, ICANN, the global multi-stakeholder non-profit organization that coordinates internet domain name system and internet protocol addresses, has indicated to me that the participation of developing countries on internet governance and policy development is relatively low. But we cannot afford to allow the world to dictate how this facility that will literally run our future lives is governed without our input. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, let me wish you all a fruitful 3-day discussions on the issue of domain name systems and the internet. I expect your discussions to enhance consumer confidence and trust in the use of ICTs for thriving African digital economy. I also, ladies and gentlemen, take this opportunity to extend a special welcome to those participants who are coming from out of the country, and to invite you to enjoy our country, especially our tourist areas where there's wildlife, while you are here. I thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Pula.